It's 10 a.m. on the East Coast, where Maryland Governor Wes Moore is making a major announcement. He plans to pardon 175,000 marijuana convictions in the state.
The governor alone. This is a responsibility that I take very, very seriously. And that is why this morning, with deep pride and soberness, I will pardon over 175,000 convictions Thank you all. We need to stop that so I can get you to sign your pardon. But I will pardon these convictions. All convictions related to the possession of cannabis and cannabis paraphernalia. Maryland legalized cannabis by referendum. This administration has stood up what many believe to be one of the most equitable and efficient adult cannabis market rollouts of any state in the entire country. In March, we conducted our first adult use cannabis licensing round, and all 174 licenses were awarded exclusively to social equity applicants. And to be clear, that's the first time that that has happened in our nation's history. Yes. And yet, we know that legalization does not turn back the clock on decades of harm that was caused by this war on drugs. Legalization does not erase the fact that nearly half of all drug arrests in Maryland during the early 2000s were for cannabis. It doesn't erase the fact that Black Marylanders were 3 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis than white Marylanders before legalization. It doesn't erase the fact that having a conviction on your record means a harder time with everything, from housing to employment, to education. It doesn't erase the fact that people who were arrested for cannabis 3 or 4 or 40 years ago still have those convictions on their records to this day. We cannot celebrate the benefits of legalization if we do not address the consequences of criminalization. So I want to be clear. When it comes to cannabis, rolling out one of the best and most equitable legal markets in the country is incredibly important. But that rollout must go hand in hand with pardoning past conduct, and Maryland is going to lead by example. Yes, yes. So today, this executive order is the most sweeping state-level pardon in any state in American history. That's right. And the action that we take together this morning is going to directly impact tens of thousands of Marylanders. So first, I will grant pardons to Marylanders who have been convicted for misdemeanor possession of cannabis. And second, I will grant full pardons to Marylanders who have been convicted of certain misdemeanor possession crimes of drug paraphernalia. So we aren't nibbling around the edges. We are taking actions that are intentional, that are sweeping, and unapologetic. And this is the largest such action in our nation's history. But there's a reason that we're being so intentional today. And there's a reason that we're moving so swiftly. And that reason is because we've studied our history. Policymaking is powerful. And if you look at the past, you see how policies have been intentionally deployed to hold back entire communities. We're talking about tools that have led to the mass incarceration of black men and boys. We're talking about tools that have led to restricted access to jobs and housing in minority communities. We're talking about tools that have led to an 8-to-1 racial wealth gap in our state. Because we know we do not get to an 8-to-1 racial wealth gap because one group is working 8 times harder. Tools that have been used to create these disparities. And to undo that kind of intentionality, we need to apply intentionality of our own. So today, we take a big step enacting the kinds of policies that can reverse the harm of the past and to help us to work together to build a brighter future. So now this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. And we could not have gotten here without the extraordinary partnership of our incredible lawmakers and leaders and advocates. I want to thank our remarkable Attorney General Anthony Brown for all of his work in making today happen. I want to thank Jason Ortiz and all of his colleagues at the Last Prisoner Project. I want to thank Heather Warnken from the University of Baltimore School of Law.
Right, you've been listening to Maryland Governor Wes Moore. Pretty remarkable, Anne-Marie, what he's doing here. We were talking about it earlier on CBS Mornings. The commuting of the convictions of pardoning of people who've been convicted for low-level marijuana offenses in the state of Maryland. And there's a couple of reasons why this is so important. Number one, Maryland is, first of all, he's the only black governor in the United States. Maryland is predominantly a black state, and we know, according to the ACLU, that black Americans are more likely to be arrested for low-level marijuana offenses than white Americans. And so there are a lot of people. There's one person that was profiled in the Washington Post. His name is Derek Riggs. He last served time for a low-level marijuana offense 16 years ago.
Right.
And 16 years later, he still can't get loans. He can't get, even if he's working, he's working on the fringes, all because of this conviction that happened many, many years ago when he was probably not as aware of what his options are as he is today.
Yeah, and it's part of a kind of in line with a broader shift when it comes to the American population and how they feel about marijuana. More and more people think marijuana should be decriminalized or legalized, and it follows President Biden's moves as well.
Which he then encouraged governors to do what he was doing.
He did something very similar with federal offenses for simple marijuana possession, and then he asked governors to do the same. He's made steps towards loosening and reclassifying marijuana. So all of this sort of fits into a broader agenda, which also I'm sure the president hopes will endear him to younger voters, because you can't forget about the fact that all of this is happening during an election year, right?
I think it's also just important to hammer home that point that that it's hard to tell someone who was convicted more than a decade ago for a misdemeanor marijuana offense that he still has to carry the burden of that when there are marijuana dispensaries on every block in your neighborhood.
Things have changed.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. And how you say Americans feel about marijuana use.